this holiday season, Gino Auriemma's Huskies have been in a more giving mood than past years. At 5-2, Connecticut's trying to find the right chemistry. And as the new year approaches, UConn will look to the new veterans to steady the ship. New Year's resolutions start early, and a win over George Mason is at the top of the list. The Patriots and the Huskies are next. So what did you get for Christmas? What could be better than a couple of tickets to a UConn game? Tonight we are at the Hartford Civic Center, where the Patriots of George Mason University visit the 8th-ranked Connecticut Huskies. And a very pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi, along with Megan Kumo. We hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. And Meg, I'm not sure wonderful would best describe UConn's two-game trip out west. I think Gino Auriemma's done everything but a Google search in his effort to find the right combination.
Yeah, and he was doing it, Bob, with a bad modem. Now, coaches like to know what to expect, and they need to know who they can count on every day. And right now, the Huskies have not been able to find that. It's hard to find consistency when you've had so many different starting lineups. It's hard to believe only two players averaged more than 25 minutes, Barbara Turner and this young lady, Ann Struther, with her best game of the season against Colorado State, tying a season high of 20 points, shot the ball well. Here, one of her team-leading 8 blocks. Here, knocking down the long-range 3. And defense, don't forget about the inbounder. Ann coming in, showing she can do some damage in the paint with a nice turnaround check.
George Mason is off to a 4-3 start, but is dead last in the Colonial Athletic Association in field goal shooting. Only one Patriots averaging in double figures.
Yeah, that's Tracy Holness, the 6'1 sophomore forward, leads this team at 12 points a game. Now, coming in to this season, they wanted her to be more consistent. She has done so and is scoring double figures in 5 of their 7 games. She's going to need a big one tonight.
And it could be a milestone moment tonight for Husky senior Jessica Moore. She's on the brink of becoming only the 24th player in UConn history to score 1,000 career points. The starting lineups at opening tip are next. Civic Center, and only the second ever meeting between UConn and George Mason. Let's check the starting lineups. First, for the visiting Patriots, Lauren Hediger, coming off a season-high 15 points last time out against Longwood. She is one of the guards, along with Jen Daniels. The center is Julie Flanders, and the forwards Kristen Higgy and Tracy Ann Holness. For UConn freshman Mel Thomas getting her first career start. She's in the backcourt with Ann Strother up front, Barbara Turner, Wilnette Crockett, and Ashley Battle. Debbie Tannehill is coaching her 200th game tonight at her alma mater at George Mason. She's in her 8th season. Gino Auriemma has coached UConn to 16 straight NCAA tournament appearances. And Megan Ashley Battle getting her 3rd consecutive start for the Huskies. She had an impressive road trip.
She did. She's played exceptionally well the last couple of weeks. And, you know, unfortunately in that loss to Arizona State, had the best game of her season.
Career high 21 points last Tuesday night. In Phoenix, jumping center will be Wilnette Crockett and Julie Flanders. Throwing the ball between them is Mark Zentz. He's working tonight with Susan Blau and Benita Spence. And the Huskies control the ball. And Mel Thomas not only getting the start, Megan, but playing the point.
And look for George Mason to stay in his zone, pack it in, and make UConn beat them from the outside.
Ball fake, Battle threw it behind Crockett, and the Huskies turn it over on their first possession.
Well, that was a good penetration there by Ashley Battle. Just a bad pass, but the right idea down to Wilnette Crockett.
This is a huge night for UConn athletics. For the first time ever, the UConn football team, as we speak, playing in a bowl game, the Motor City Bowl. And they are cleaning Toledo's clocks, leading 27-7 second quarter. We'll keep you posted on that one. Wilnette Crockett rebounds the George Mason miss. And here's Thomas to Battle. Skip past Strother, tough catch on the perimeter. Thomas to Strother again for 3. Crockett, the leading rebounder for UConn. That one went off her head. And then we're going to get a foul. And it looks like it will be on. Is it Turner or Crockett? First foul on the Huskies. It will be on Barbara Turner. UConn 5-2. They lost to Arizona State last Tuesday night. The earliest second loss of the season for the Huskies in 13 years. Pass right off the knee of Julie Flanders. Right idea, but not the right location.
And that's what Coach Debbie Tannehill was worried about, is that she's worried about her ball club scoring points. They play pretty good defense, but they're just worried about UConn's defense. But that's the one area where they're struggling a bit this year, and that's shooting the ball and scoring.
Yeah, they're shooting only 30.9%, 33.5% rather, as a team. Thomas changes directions on the dribble and sets up Battle for three.
That's what you got to do against a zone. You have to dribble, penetrate, get inside, make the defense make some decisions. That time kicked it out to the wide open Ashley Battle.
7-3 of the season for Battle, who's shooting 42.9% from long range. Jen Daniels penetrates, sets up Hediger. Gives to Higgy, who backs in on Turner. Running one-hander, no good. Rebound Strada.
Higgy, one of only 3 upperclassmen for the Patriots.
Daniels with the steal. UConn is 10th in the Big East in turnover margin. Illustration there why.
Not a smart play. You turn it over and then you compound it by committing the foul. But here, the nice penetration by Mel Thomas and Ashley Battle. As you mentioned, the best three-point shooter right now on the Huskies. I don't think anybody would have predicted that coming in.
First foul on Strother and 2 on UConn. Strother leads the team in three-point field goals made. Battle with not enough attempts to qualify for the Big East leaders in that category. Right side Holness, double dribble.
Could be a little nerves, although Debbie Tannehill was funny before the game. She said, you know, we're so young. I don't know if we realize enough to be scared or intimidated by UConn in this crowd, but it's clearly the largest crowd they've played in front of.
Well, 7 of their players on the roster are freshmen. A kick on the Patriots, so the shot clock will recycle, and UConn gets a full 30. Debbie Tannehill played her college ball at George Mason and never left the Fairfax, Virginia campus. Strother with the left side three.
And once again, Strother coming in after inbounding the ball wide open in the corner. It's important for her to knock down a shot early.
19-3 for Strother. She's second in the Big East in that category. Battle with the steal. 2-on-1. She blows right by Hediger. Misses the layup. Crockett with the rebound. And a reset for UConn offensively. Thomas to Battle. Turner up high. Good ball movement for UConn. Strother can't get the three to go.
What better ball movement, though, Bob, as you mentioned. Inside out, side to side.
And Strother will pick up her second foul in the first 3-14 and 3 on UConn.
Which shows you how senseless that first foul that she committed was, because now she's going to find herself going to the bench for most of this first half.
Daniels to inbound baseline. George Mason has missed its first 2 shots, and that's the bad news, Megan. They've only had 2 shots in 3:20. Daniels goes by Strother, leaves for Flanders. Wild shot, Turner rebound. Thomas to Strother on the left. Strother tied her season high with 20 in her homecoming game Thursday night at Colorado State. Bad pass, too low, and the Huskies turn it over.
Well, those are the things that drive coaches crazy.
Third turnover for Gino Oriema's club. Entering the game, UConn with only 3 fewer turnovers than their opponents, and that's something you never see, particularly early in UConn's non-league schedule. Higgy missed everything. Flanders tried to save it, but it winds up in Mel Thomas's lap. We played 4 minutes. The visitors have yet to score. Battle for her second three. Crockett might have gotten away with a little push there.
I was just going to say, Willinette Crockett got away with a push to the back inside.
A well-timed and well-placed push. Pass inside, stolen by Daniels. 4th turnover for UConn.
That was good defense by Flanders to knock the ball away.
George Mason leads the CAA, Paulding Athletic Association, in turnover margin. Turnaround Flanders, she's yet to hit the rim on 2 shots. Patriots are 0 for 4. Another kick by the Patriots. It will be UConn ball with a fresh 30 when we come back. Huskies pitching a shutout in the early going. They lead at 6-zip. 20 days for UConn. And Megan, we mentioned that George Mason ordinarily keeps good care of the basketball. Entering the game, 42 fewer turnovers than their opponents.
I mean, that's a very important statistic because, you know, the key for any team and any coach is that you want to take care of the basketball. Here you see they're leading the Huskies by 1. But you got to take care of the basketball in order to score. Now, Debbie Tannehill was telling me they have a hard enough time scoring, but at least if you give yourself the best option, and that is to take care of the ball and get a shot, you'd rather that than turn it over.
They are a sound defensive team, and they create another turnover. Here's Daniels, has Hediger left, sets her up for the left side 3.
That was a very well-run break by Hediger. Did a nice job of flaring out to the left wing behind that line. The nice pass, and she knocked it down.
So George Mason's game-opening drought ends at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Patriots stay in that 2-3 zone. Thomas to Strother.
Thomas is going to have to hit that shot at the top of the key, Bob.
Well, she's got the wide-open look here.
It's been a long time coming for Mel Thomas to knock in an open 3.
For Thomas, her 4th 3 of the year in 19 attempts.
And she's a better shooter than that.
And we'll get the reach-in foul in the backcourt will be called on Thomas.
And one of the reasons that Mel Thomas started this game is you see her diving on the floor and hustling. And again, it looks like she hit her face a little bit, that face mask to protect that broken nose. But she's earned this starting spot. Now remember, she didn't even play against North Carolina early on in the season because Gino Auriemma didn't like her practice habits. Now, she's worked hard and corrected all those problems, and now she's starting.
Jessica Moore has checked in for UConn. Yeah, Thomas played only 46 minutes in her first 4 games, and as you mentioned, no minutes in the North Carolina game. She's played 28 minutes in each of the last 3.
And she made that decision. She decided that, not Gino Auriemma.
Battle tries to force it inside, and the Huskies have turned the ball over 6 times in the first 6 minutes. Strother nearly gets it back.
And the turnovers are a result of one thing, that George Mason's playing pretty good defense, but UConn just not really sure. Again, we're talking the consistency and the chemistry that you want. There the foul, as you see, or the ball went out of bounds rather. Good hustle by Ann Strother. But when you don't have that chemistry and that flow offensively, sometimes players try to do too much, try to kind of take over the game by themselves and do some things. And here, just those early season kinks that we're not used to seeing.
Casey Quigley shows why she's second in the CAA in 3-point shooting percentage.
And she's a good leader on this ball club as well.
Keisha Soigné, Sharday Houston have checked in for UConn, so the Huskies have 3 freshmen on the floor right now. Houston feeds Moore, and a 3-second call on Moore. Turnover number 7 on UConn. Wow.
Well, that kind of turnover you can handle, though, because you were trying to be aggressive. Moore realized that she was double teamed, and she kicked it out.
There's a deep 3 by Hediger. That's
Yikes.
the sort of shot you take when time's running down on the clock, which it wasn't.
Although if it went in, I guess it would have been a different story,
Wow.
but she was nowhere close.
That was the Ian Horse. Soigné, whose playing time has really been limited recently.
How about that quick first step?
Yeah. Houston coming off a very solid practice yesterday. She's someone who averaged 20 minutes per game in her first 4 games and only 7 minutes per game in her last 3.
Well, she realized there were some things that she needed to change, and she's working on it.
Offensive foul on Tracy Ann Holness.
Good team defense that time. Jessica Moore stepped up, took that charge. You know, in the Huskies, that's one thing that really happened at Colorado State. More team effort, better execution offensively, everybody involved, because they don't have the one scorer that they did with Diana Taurasi. They've got to all do it together. And they set screens, they work together, they ran offense. And that's what's going to do it for this team. They've all got to be on the same page.
Only the 2nd foul on the Patriots. First on Holness. Moore, deflected by Soigné. Finds Thomas. Can she hit another 3? Good box out inside, and the ball was last touched by Moni Akintunde of George Mason.
And Debbie Tannehill is saying to Mark Spence, come on now. Mark Zentz, rather. That had to be our ball.
Thomas to Soigné. Goes right around Quigley, sets up Houston, and Houston Another 3-second call on the Huskies and turnover number 9.
Yeah, that 3-second call was on Jessica Moore.
Second on her already. Quickly come the Patriots. Cross court. Comes to Akintunde. Tried to shoot over Moore, and picking up the loose change inside was Flanders. First points for Flanders, the senior from St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands. And about 10 o'clock last night, if you looked out your window in Connecticut, how good did St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands sound? Houston tried to force it inside, and the Huskies have turned it over 10 times in the first 7:45. Higgy returning to the lineup for George Mason, replacing Flanders. Turner back in for the Huskies, replacing Jessica Moore, who really struggled the offensive end of the floor. Ashley Battle back in, replacing Thomas.
That's a good sub there. I think Mel Thomas needed a break.
It's halftime in Detroit, and UConn leads Toledo 30-7. 30-7 in the Motor City Ball. Battle and Turner combined for the steal. Battle with a hoop.
And that's how they're going to have to do it, create some offense from their defense.
And Higgy couldn't decide what she wanted to do, and while she was deciding, she took one step too many. 6th turnover for the Patriots.
Yeah, you've got to be decisive. Indecision will kill you in this game.
George Mason last played last Tuesday against Longwood and won the game, and as Soignier starts to go, we're going to get a foul on the Patriots, and that will bring us to an official timeout. 11:52 remaining in the first half. Ashley Battle getting her 3rd straight start and already paying dividends with 5 points. The Huskies lead by 5. And I thought the C and the P standed for Kumo Picozzi TV.
I thought so too.
Little do I know.
Well, Bob, listen, string theory has to be about basketball, right? Well, not exactly. String theory explains the actions of the very big and the very small, a unified theory that Einstein was dreaming about. A little bit different dreams than I've had. Take a guided tour through wild science on Nova, Elegant Universe, tomorrow night at 8 on CPTV.
And of course, Nova will be coming to UConn later this year.
Yeah, it'll be
Harry
a Saturday
Paredes
night
Club.
game.
Let's see here. When are they coming to town? January 15th. Saturday night at Gamble Pavilion. We'll have it for you here on CPTV. Soignier missing the first free throw. Keisha Soignier began her career with a bang with 8 assists on opening night against Buffalo, but she has struggled in the last couple of weeks.
Well, you know, she's faced some challenges that I'm sure she's never had to face before, and you never know how young kids are going to respond to them, but I think she's learning how to fight through them.
Look at the play by Houston. She picked the pocket and laid it in.
Signs of her incredible athleticism.
She's got 4 quick points off the bench. Quigley. Daniels. This is Kiana Wakefield, number 32. Strother with her team-leading 9th block. Soignier takes it right into the teeth of the cone and feeds Turner, but couldn't finish.
Too bad Soignier doesn't get an assist on that play.
Instead, Battle with the reach-in foul in the backcourt, her first, and that will be number 5 on the Huskies.
Well, the problem, you know, sometimes when you get a couple steals in the pressure defense, it prompts you to want to do more and more, and that can sometimes lead to fouls in the open floor like that.
Out of the backcourt, Pettiger, who has re-entered the lineup.
Look for the Huskies to trap the first pass to the wing.
Daniels for 3, knocks it down.
Good ball movement. George Mason did not allow the Huskies to get into their trapping defense.
Daniels shoots only 26% from 3-point range. Showed a very nice touch on that one. Soignier, Houston baseline. Skip pass Battle. Ball fake. They're going to call her for the travel, and that's the 10th turnover for UConn.
Fans here voicing their displeasure.
And there's the turnover story in the early going and what each team has managed to produce off the turnovers. Pettiger fouled in the backcourt by Houston. The Huskies are really giving away fouls. That's number 1 on Houston, and that will be 16 fouls on UConn.
And again, you know, Houston's had some success early, but you don't want to get too aggressive and start getting some silly fouls.
You don't want to send a team that's second in their league in free throw shooting to the line this early. 2-on-1. Houston with Strather. She won't need the other one. Misses the shot. Strather with the putback, and she'll draw the foul on Jen Daniels. So Houston missed the layup, but she's really getting it done with her quick hands on defense.
And she's always been known as a scorer and has not been wowing her coaches with her defensive prowess early this season. But boy, has she shown a lot here this evening. And there's proof why you always have to follow up the shot. Strather, the beneficiary, as Houston missed that layup.
Strather knocks the first one down. Debbie Tannehill told me, I asked her, I spoke to her the day after UConn lost to Arizona State, and I said, what was your first reaction when you heard they had lost that? She said, dang. Said, you don't want to play them after they lose. We were hoping to catch them sleeping.
That's so true. But you know what? It is a good time for anyone to be playing the Huskies right now because there's more indecision on this UConn ball club than ever before.
Akintunde to Higgy. Last touch by the Huskies, 20 to shoot. Michigan State comes to town on Wednesday.
That'll be a doozy.
Yeah, the Spartans are 11th in the country in the latest ESPN USA Today rankings. They will be updated tomorrow night. And don't be surprised if Michigan State leapfrogs UConn in those rankings. The Huskies slipped to number 11 in the Associated Press poll, which came out today. First time they're not in the top 10 since February of 1994. January of 94.
And how about the current freshmen were in second grade at the time?
Thomas down low, tough catch by Turner, and a tough shot. First 2 points for the Huskies. Leading scorer, the junior from Cleveland, and Houston with another steal. Spins and has her pocket picked by Daniels.
Terrific hands there by Daniels.
Daniels spins in the lane, sets up Quigley for 3. Back rim, and Ashley Battle gets her second rebound of the night. Quigley forecourt. Battle to Thomas. Penetrates the zone as it knocked away from behind by Hediger. 12th turnover for UConn.
That's 3 fouls on Ann Strather.
Well, actually, I said earlier they had 2, but I think they called the one on Moore because Strather was listed as 1 before that.
Huskies got a break then.
So that'll be your second. 7 on the team. So this will be a 2-shot foul, but everything the rest of the way will be either 2 or the 1-and-1. And Meg George Mason shoots 72.5% from the line, so they have a chance to make up this deficit from the free throw line.
Well, yeah, the last thing you want to do against a team that struggles offensively is to give them the opportunity at which they are best, and that's free throw shooting.
Daniels was 10 for 10 from the line earlier this season against Georgetown. And the night she scored a career-high 15 points. She's from the Jersey Shore and Brigantine, went to Holy Spirit High School. That's in Absecon, New Jersey. That's where former Celtics coach and former Celtics player Chris Ford played his high school basketball at Holy Spirit.
And how about she chose George Mason over Hartford, University of Hartford, among some other schools.
This is George Mason's first visit to play UConn. They've only played once before. It was at a neutral court. Huskies won that 74-60. That was when you were there, right?
Yeah. Although it's so long ago, I can't really remember it.
Jesse, you can't remember what we had for breakfast. Rebound taken down by Higgy. Holness, good quick move in the lane, but she can't finish, and Thomas rebounds for UConn. Patriots just 4 of 15 from the floor. Moore, sweet position inside, missed the shot.
It's a good entry pass from Nicole Wolf.
Ball last touch by UConn. Wolf's playing time has really been sliced dramatically of late. She scored 20 points in her first 2 games this year and only 8 in the last 5, as we mentioned. Gino Auriemma continuing to shuffle the lineup, trying to put the pegs in the hole.
Yeah, and playing time is won and lost in practice on a daily basis.
Holness with the miss, and Crockett with her third rebound. Thomas at the 8-minute mark. Strother. Battle on the left. Tried to force it inside, and a bailout foul on the Patriots. Not a good idea to try to force it in there.
Well, the problem is you have a million green shirts that are collapsing inside. You have to dribble, penetrate, make them commit, get to the open spots on the floor.
First foul on Flanders, and the fourth on the Patriots, who already have a win over a Big East team this year. They beat Georgetown, the only Big East team they played. Moore lobs it down low. Crockett to Wolf. Nice touch.
That was good offense. See, the key was getting the ball to the high post, making the defense make decisions. Crockett had an advantage inside, but wisely kicked it to Wolf, who was open.
Huskies by 9, 7.5 remaining first half. Holness throws up the three and knocks it down.
Wow.
Tracy Ann Holness with her 6th three-pointer of the year. She's out of the powerhouse Christ the King program. Middle Village, New York, the high school which brought Sue Bird to UConn. Shamika Holsclaw from Tennessee, one of the greats who played there. Left side, Higgy with the jump shot. Rebound in traffic, pulled down by Jessica Moore, her first.
Good box out there by Jessica Moore.
Battle to Thomas, spot up three. Rebound fought for, last touch by Crockett with 6:56 remaining. UConn has won 61 of its last 62 games in the month of December. Trying to make it 62 out of 63. This jumper by Nicole Wolf will help. It's a 6-point UConn lead, and Houston, we have no problem so far tonight. Charday's been pretty good off the bench, Megan.
Oh, she has. She's really come in and given this team a spark, and she's done it on the defensive end here, stepping in the passing lane, stealing the ball, and here showing her on the ball defense, and then the nice finish in the lane. Again, we've said it before, always known as a scorer, scoring over 3,400 points in high school, but she's done so much of her damage here early this evening on the defensive end.
Houston, the all-time leading scorer in the state of California, breaking the record held previously by the great Cheryl Miller. Out of the timeout, Wakefield picks up her dribble, finally finds Holness. Back to Wakefield, one of the 7 freshmen on this George Mason club. Wakefield doubled by Crockett and appeared to be dribbling the ball in the wrong direction, and Houston and Crockett combined for the steal.
Tremendous team defense and just plain effort by Wilnett Crockett to start things off, and then Charday Houston to finish.
Houston has just been terrific.
But what she has to
full court pressure.
What she has to realize, Bob, is that she has to do this every day. You know, once you show the great things you can do, you have to do it on a regular basis.
Yeah, like in practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crockett with the block. Here's Soignier to Wolf on the right for the finish.
That almost defied physics, the way that ball hit the backboard and then finally rolled in.
It is a 10-point UConn lead, and Debbie Tannehill wants to stop the momentum with 5:54 to go in the half. And she's pretty hot at her freshman, Kiana Wakefield.
Yeah, well, it's some of the turnovers that are frustrating her there. It was a good defensive play by the Huskies, blocked the shot. You know, it's all about effort. You got to stop the ball and hustle back on defense, because UConn is doing a really nice job of running the floor, being aggressive, attacking the basket. And one thing that we haven't seen a lot this season is to get a quick steal or get some junk from the defensive end that has led to transition buckets for the Huskies. Haven't seen that a ton this season.
UConn 5th in the Big East in steals already, with 7 of them tonight in the first 14 minutes. George Mason has really struggled from the perimeter tonight, and as we mentioned, they have struggled to hit a shot all year. Left side, Hediger. She can't get it to go. Houston with her first rebound. Here's Soignier. Back to Houston. Wolf on the left. Strother to Houston in the lane, puts it on the floor. Rebound in traffic to Flanders, who's the second leading rebounder in the Colonial Athletic Association. Higgy, they want to feed Flanders in the post. Now they get it to her. Goes around Crockett, misses the shot. Rebound, Sharday Houston.
Well, George Mason runs a triangle offense, and it's something that you really need to play for a long time and learn, and they got so many young guys, it's tough.
Strother with the miss, and another rebound pulled down by Flanders, her game-leading fourth, inside the 5-minute mark. George Mason, in the middle of the stretch, they're playing only 2 games in 21 days. Holness had the right idea, but Flanders lost the handle.
Well, Flanders was going in. She had good inside position to box out for an offensive rebound.
Holness, leading scorer on this club, scored in double figures in 5 of her team's first 7 games. George Mason's last game last Tuesday against Longwood, a school that is making the transition to Division I. Longwood, that's what you use when you're not real confident in your 3 or 4 iron. Moore with the foul line jumper. We haven't seen that in a while.
Well, it's more confidence than anything with Jessica Moore. She got rid of that knee sleeve in the Arizona State game, just feeling more and more confident in herself and in her knee.
Tore her ACL in the waning moments of the national championship game against Tennessee. Tore it while making a terrific play to save the ball. Moore loses that one over the end line. A fresh 30 on the shot clock for George Mason.
But better hustle all around again by the Huskies. Soigné with the near save, and Jessica Moore just couldn't quite get it done, but she still has her fans.
Fan hoping to see history tonight. Jessica Moore right now sitting on 996 points. Cross court, Houston got a hand on it. She's got a hand on a lot of stuff tonight. Preseason Big East Freshman of the Year has already been the Freshman of the Week once in the Big East this year. And Soigné with the foul in the backcourt. Her first, 8 on the team. It will be 1-1 for the Patriots when we return. 3:59 to go first half. Huskies by a dozen. It's UConn by 12. The Huskies' second ever meeting against the Patriots of George Mason from Fairfax, Virginia.
Does traditional medicine have all the answers? Finding a cure for what ails you is getting more confusing all the time. Get some answers tomorrow night starting at 9 on CPTV with Frontline, followed by Scientific American Frontiers.
As we mentioned, Michigan State will come to town on Wednesday. The Spartans ranked 10th in the country in the Associated Press poll, which was released earlier tonight. Only have 1 loss to TCU in Hawaii. They ended Notre Dame's 25-game home winning streak. They also beat Boston College. And Joanne McCauley will come in here with a very experienced and talented Spartans club on Wednesday night. They will be a handful for UConn.
I mean, she is a terrific coach and did an outstanding job at Maine for years when she was there. Has been out at Michigan State for about half a dozen years, and she's an outstanding coach and a great lady.
Took them to the NCAA tournament last year. Really turned that program around in a hurry. Soigné, good look inside. Moore looked like she might not have been ready for it. 13th turnover for UConn, so that's been the #1 negative in the first 16-20 tonight. Huskies have been very sound themselves at the defensive end. Holness finally gets it across the midcourt line. She's double teamed by Strother and Houston, who combined for the Huskies' 8th steal.
And Nicole Wolf knocked that ball away.
Excuse me, not Strother.
It's a blonde ponytail.
Those blonde ponytails sometimes can be very confusing. Down low to Moore, and she'll draw the foul. This one, I think, will be on Flanders. Her second, and number 6 on the Patriots. George Mason will begin conference play Sunday afternoon at Towson. They'll fly back home tomorrow. George Mason campus not far at all from Dulles International Airport in Northern Virginia. On the left, it's Battle. Thomas, deep three. Back rims it. And Houston deflected the rebound and picked up on a hop by Holness at the 3-minute mark. Back in the game is Akintunde, freshman from Laurel, Maryland. Daniels penetrates, throws up the runner, gets her own rebound. Ball didn't hit the rim, so the shot clock did not recycle. Higgy inside, that didn't hit the rim either. And on the rebound, we're going to get a foul called, I believe, on Wolf.
Well, Higgy was wide open inside, of lack of communication defensively for the Huskies. And George Mason just getting after it on the glass. Had good inside position, which is why Wolf committed that over the back foul.
Akintunde, only a 60% free throw shooter, will go to the line. She's a prolific rebounder. Not only had 1,000 rebounds in high school, she averaged 15 rebounds a game last year as a senior. On the right, it's Wolf. Feeds the high post to Houston, and she's called for the travel. That's the 14th turnover on UConn. Barbara Turner will re-enter for the Huskies, replacing Houston, who sits down with 6 points and 3 rebounds. Out at Ford Field at the Motor City Bowl, UConn leading Toledo 30-7 at the half. Big first half for Dan Orlovsky. I think you're going to be seeing him playing on Sundays next year for somebody. What a job Randy Etzel has done here at UConn. The Huskies have become a major player at the Division 1A level in a remarkably brief amount of time.
Yeah, boy, did they do it in a hurry.
The runner by Hediger missed the shot, but a bailout foul will be called on Wolf, and that will be her second and number 9 on UConn. And
Gino's trying to plead his case to Benita Spence, saying she was just standing there. That kid threw herself into her.
There's Ty on the head coach of the Huskies tonight.
Yeah, his team may not always play pretty, but darn it, G always looks good.
Yeah, got the suit coat still on. 18 minutes into the game. That's approaching a personal record.
Well, this year we'll be lucky if he's not wearing his overcoat.
9-point UConn lead. Wolf feeds Turner down low. Thomas and Moore occupying the same space.
Well, what happened was the nice three there by Nicole Wolf, but Jessica Moore was trying to set a screen that time for Mel Thomas. Mel Thomas was going to dribble penetrate. A perfect example of how this team just is not quite in a flow yet.
Fourth three of the night for the Huskies, who open up a 12-point lead. Daniels misses. Rebound Thomas. The Patriots are 5 of 25 from the floor. Battle with the runner. Can't get it to go, but she will draw the foul.
Well, I guess there's the theory for George Mason that you got a better chance to get an offensive rebound as opposed to turning it over like they've done so much here tonight. They've taken some long-range shots. A couple of them have the green light, though. I mean, Hediger has got endless range. They give her the green light from wherever she wants to shoot it from.
Second foul on Daniels, 7 on the Patriots. Quigley replaces Daniels for George Mason as Battle knocks down the first free throw. George Mason 12-9 in its history when playing the final game of the month of December, and this is the final game for the Patriots. UConn with one more, as we mentioned, against Michigan State. Huskies begin Big East play Sunday at St. John's, 2 o'clock. Here on CPTV from Carnesecca Arena.
Yeah, the new name. Gotta love it. St. John's is surprising 10-0.
For the first time ever. Another turnover for the Patriots. They're 14th. Down low, Turner leans in, draws the contact, and gets the basket.
Those are some of the plays that the Huskies are going to need to complete to just start building up their confidence again. Good, strong offensive move by Barbara Turner, and Kristen Higgy had no chance to stop BT inside. Turner just too strong.
First foul on Higgy, 8 on the team, and Turner will try to complete the 3-point play. Turner far and away leads UConn in free throw attempts. That was her 39th of the season. So we're inside the final minute of the half. Quigley, defended by Thomas. Akintunde. Holness, top of the circle.
Huskies playing a little zone.
Shot clock at 10. Hediger, long three, and she nails it.
Well, again, Hediger made some huge shots last year in very big games for the Patriots.
She's fourth in the CAA in three-point field goals. That was her 16th of the year. Shot clock off. UConn will play for the final shot, up 14. Battle to Thomas. Clock down to 5. Battle for 3. Rebound off of Akintunde's hands. And it will be Huskies ball with 2/10 of a second left. So you got to catch it and shoot it. Wolf looks in the lane, finds Battle. Got the shot off, but she was too far under the hoop. So a sort of a mixed bag in the first half for Gino Auriemma's club. They played very good defensively. They really struggled to keep care of the basketball, but they wind up with a 14-point lead at intermission. UConn trying to extend its record to 6-2, leading George Mason 36-22 at halftime. Huskies are leading George Mason 36-22 at halftime. Megan Kumo standing by with the associate head coach of the Huskies, Chris Daly. Meg?
Bob, thank you very much. CD, once again, you guys playing outstanding defense.
Our defense is good. It's been good and solid all year. It's on the offensive end. 14 turnovers. We're giving up opportunities to score and, blow out a team that I think we're better than.
Yeah, some of the younger guys came out, though. I mean, Sharday Houston played very inspired basketball, and Mel Thomas got her first start.
That second group, I thought Nicole, Keisha, Sharday, and Mel Thomas, in that spurt, I thought where we went on a little bit of a roll, we pressed a bit, and those were all positive things.
Did you have a good Christmas?
It seemed like a month ago. It was a long time ago already. So.
All right, good luck the second half.
All right, thanks. Back to you, Bob.
All right, Chris, thank you very much, and a happy new year to you. There's Mel Thomas getting her first start as a freshman. 3 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists already tonight. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. The Huskies really created offense with their defense. Ashley Battle combining with Barbara Turner for the steal. Battle had 7 points. Sharday Houston does it all herself. She picks the pocket of Kiana Wakefield and lays it in for 2 of her 6. Thomas with 1 of her 4 assists right here. Sets up Nicole Wolf for the right side 3. Wolf with 7 points off the bench. And this time, Wolf down low to Turner for the basket and the foul. She made the free throw and has 5 points in the first half. As we look at the first half statistics, and Megan, we mentioned right at the very top of the telecast, George Mason has trouble shooting the ball, and their problems continue tonight.
Yeah, well, their problems were, I think, aided a little bit because UConn's defense, as Chris mentioned, was just outstanding. A lot of times didn't even allow them to get into their offensive sets.
George Mason ball to begin the second half. Patriots 4-3. Daniels gets by Thomas, can't hit the pull-up, and Crockett will pull down the rebound, her 4th of the night. Lead pass to Turner, nice catch, and the foul.
That was an unbelievable catch by Barbara Turner. The nice lead pass from Mel Thomas almost looked like it was going to go out of bounds. That was Donovan McNabb to T.O.
Well,
before he hurt his ankle.
When he used to play. Of course, Megan is an Eagles fan. Bitter and broken. They're still going to get to the Super Bowl.
They're still going to get there.
But they're going to get their clocks clean when they get there.
Oh, well, we'll see.
Without Mr. Owens. That's the 3rd foul on Daniels. First on the Patriots here in the second half. Hediger ball fake. She's triple teamed. Feeds Flanders, then to Holness, who lays it in. Pretty good ball movement, passing out of the double, actually the triple team.
Yeah, good poise.
Strother looks inside Turner, hit her right on the fingertips.
Yeah, as we've seen for the last 2+ years, when Barbara Turner gets the ball that low in the post, very difficult to stop.
Turner can score points in bunches. For example, she's got 5 in the first minute here in the second half. Daniels still in the lineup with 3 fouls. This time she'll draw the foul on Crockett. Her first, number 1 on UConn in the second half.
Well, what a screen Flanders set on Mel Thomas at the top of the key to open that up for Daniels.
So Daniels will go to the free throw line, where she is an outstanding free throw shooter, has hit all 4 of her shots tonight. She's scored in double figures 4 times this year. She leads the Colonial Athletic Association in free throw shooting at 89.3%.
I'd say that you just jinxed her on that one.
Yeah, I've been known to do that. George Mason played last Tuesday. Then Debbie Tannehill gave the team 4 days off for Christmas. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday they return. On Sunday they practice, and then later in the day flew up here to Hartford for tonight's game. They'll fly back in the morning. Thomas, ball fake, gets by Holness, gives to Battle. Dribbled off her foot but runs it down. I don't think she did that on purpose. Strother, right side pull up. Crockett inside. Look at the good quick hands and hustle as she keeps it alive for the UConn. Strother to Battle for 3. Rebound in traffic to Strother. And a reach-in foul will be called on Hediger.
Again, it doesn't always have to be pretty, but what hustle by the Huskies to get that shot up. Too bad Ashley Battle's shot went around and out after all the great hustle by so many of the Huskies on that possession.
Second on Hediger, second on George Mason this half.
Crockett is working hard in the post.
Strother can't hit the 3. Turner gets the rebound, but then lost it over the end line.
And Flanders looked at the official and said, "Come on, man, she's pushing me underneath."
UConn has won 162 straight home games against an unranked opponent. Higgy missing the shot, and Battle goes up in the air for her 3rd rebound. Bring it up the floor herself. Battle. Good quick ball movement around the perimeter of the zone. Sweet position for Crockett.
She had been working so hard on previous possessions. She's just burying Flanders in the lane, and Mel Thomas finally found her.
18-point UConn lead, 2.5 minutes into the second half. Flanders up high. Spins, takes the shot. Nobody underneath but white shirts. Here comes Thomas. As Battle left, finds her. Back up top to Thomas. Skip pass, deflected by Holness. 17 to shoot for UConn.
You have to think long term, and this is how coaches think. If that ball is going to get tipped by a George Mason team that's in a zone, what's going to happen against Texas and Tennessee?
Now the shot clock's inside 10. Battle to Turner. Foot was on the line. It's a 2. Turner with 7 points in the first 4 minutes of the second half.
You know, and I omitted a very important name there, Bob. Michigan State, who the Huskies play in 2 days.
Texas is ranked 4th. At least that's before the new ESPN USA Today poll comes out tomorrow. Notre Dame, Huskies will play them twice this year, is ranked 5th. Tennessee 10th last week, Michigan State 11th. Boston College 16th, the Huskies will play them twice. So the fun has not yet begun for UConn.
Is that what you want to call it?
Battle off the glass, no good. Rebound to Holness, her 2nd of the night. Daniels tries to go by Thomas and does.
So Thomas got away with a little reach.
Jen Daniels with 10 points. She's in double figures for the 5th time this year. Inside Turner, she's got 14 points.
Well, classic closeout move that the post players work on every day in practice. Catch the ball there in that step out spot, the short corner. Turn strong, body between the defender and the ball, and go to the basket.
We get a blocking foul down low on Wilnette Crockett, her 2nd, and number 2 on UConn here in the second half. We've played 4 minutes and 15 seconds in the second half. It's been the Barbara Turner show. 3rd of 9 home games this season for UConn, and they are seeing quite a performance by Barbara Turner, Megan. Her 51st double-figure scoring performance of her career.
Well, she runs the floor so well. What great hands, and and focus and concentration there. Catches the ball down low. And she's got deadly range from outside as well. She's one of the toughest kind of players to defend because she can score from so many different areas on the floor. And, you know, the first half, she wasn't that active. You know, 5 points, 2 of 3, you know, didn't get that many shots. But second half, she has come on strong. She only played 11 minutes in that first half. Already in the first 4 minutes, 15 seconds, she's nearly doubled her point total.
Yep, 9 points here in the second half. Of those 5 first half points, 3 came very late on that 3-point play. She's had 12 of those 14 points in the last 7 minutes or so of playing time. Thomas trying to attack the 2-3 George Mason zone. Strother for 3. Got it.
You know, it's so nice when you're a shooter and you've been struggling. You know, she hit some shots against Colorado State. To knock down that shot here tonight, just to start finding some confidence and consistency is huge.
Kick on UConn, so the shot clock will recycle. Strother's 20th 3 of the season, second most in the Big East. Pull-up jumper by Hediger. Acrobatic rebound by Flanders, her 5th.
She's a great rebounder.
Averages 10 per game, second best in the CAA. Daniels nearly backed up into the backcourt there. Came perilously close. Hediger will feed Higgy down low. She wants to go on Houston, misses the left-hander. Turner's 3rd rebound. Here's Thomas to Strother. Huskies have been dominant here at the Civic Center. Thomas for 3, no good. Rebound off the hands of Moore and out of bounds.
Already Gino Auriemma treating Mel Thomas as if she's not a freshman. After that shot, he said, come on, Mel, make a shot.
So far tonight, Thomas is 1 of 4 from the floor. She struggled with her shot in the first 8 games of her college career. She arrived at UConn with the reputation of being a big-time shooter, but she's got lots of time left to earn that reputation.
Absolutely.
I suspect we'll see it.
Yeah, and let's give a little bit of the blame to that hideous mask she has to wear. And that one looks good compared to the first one.
Yeah, that's a regular fashion statement compared to its predecessor. She was elbowed in the nose accidentally by her teammate Stacey Marin in practice back on November 29th. Might have to wear that mask for the rest of the year. Sweet position inside for Houston. They're going to count it. Yep.
You know, you're just seeing such a different zip offensively for the Huskies. Even the way they ran into that huddle was different, but Charday showing her strength while getting fouled inside. A little hesitation, got Flanders up off her feet and onto her back, actually.
3rd foul on Flanders, 3 on the Patriots in the second half. Houston's numbers tonight. Houston with a comeback performance. Had no points, no rebounds in 3 minutes last Thursday night at Colorado State. And we're going to get a timeout called by Debbie Tannehill with 14:08 remaining in the ball game, and UConn out to a 24-point lead over the visitors from Virginia. Not so sure it's my cup of tea with a 19-year-old son, however. I could see him sitting down and watching that with Dad. Daniels double team Ashley Valley with her first appearance of the night for UConn. She got a start on the road 2 games ago at Arizona State. In fact, with Thomas starting tonight, it's the 4th different starting point guard in the last 4 games for UConn, and we will get a blocking foul on Jessica Moore. 2 on her, 3 on the Huskies this half, and to the free throw line will go Lauren Hediger. Hediger had a season-high 15 points last time out against Longwood. She's out of Mount Lebanon High School in Pittsburgh. Debbie Tannehill told me that her 6-year-old son Jason asked her, Mommy, is UConn a college team or a pro team? And then when she told her, he then said, "Their best player's gone, right?" And I said yes, and he said, "Well, that's good."
Yeah, there's
he is,
Jason. And of course, he did this 3 days before Christmas, she told me. She said most kids are excited about Santa Claus coming. What are they going to get? He's more worried about Connecticut.
Jason would rather see Diana Taurasi play on TV for the Phoenix Mercury than against Mommy's George Mason Patriots. There he is.
Enjoying some good old popcorn.
Enjoying his trip to Connecticut.
6 years old.
A weather challenge trip, I might add. Their flight was delayed yesterday at Dulles because of the snow we had here in Connecticut. Turner gives to Houston. Spins on Holness and scores over with ease.
I'll tell you what, she is so dangerous when she catches the ball and faces up from the foul line.
Houston with 11, so she's in double figures for the 4th time in her career. We got a blocking foul on Moore again. Her 3rd and 4 on UConn. And Turner will depart with 14 points and 3 rebounds. So inbounding will be Daniels. Gives to Hediger. Drives on Ashley Valley. Shoots on the run. Rebound on a hop to Houston, who double dribbled. She looked up the court. She saw a 3-on-1 developing, and she just lost the handle.
Again, that's a turnover that a coach can handle.
That.
Yeah.
Yep, you can live with that. Hediger, deep 3. Rebound Moore, and an over-the-back foul will be called on Holness. Her 2nd. And number 4 on the Patriots here. Make it 5 here in the 2nd half.
Strong, aggressive rebound that time from Jessica Moore.
So Valley will walk it across. Patriots stay in that zone. Houston, a good quick spin move again, missed the shot. Rebound comes to Holness.
Gino just screened to Sharday Houston to pass the ball.
Hediger feeds Flanders, who gets sweet position on Houston, but she was called for the discontinued dribble. 17th turnover on the Patriots. And Crockett will re-enter, replacing Houston, who leaves with 11 points and 4 rebounds and 5 of 8 shooting. Her best performance since the USF game.
I'm sure that's a tough thing for Sharday Houston to learn. You know, she feels she can score every time. So be aggressive and go to the basket. And yet, you know, you got to pass, get your teammates involved too. It's a fine line.
Valley threw the ball behind Crockett, and Daniels was there for the steal. Strother got it back. Nearly everyone touched it on the floor, and eventually George Mason will come away with it following turnover number 16 on the Huskies. 8 minutes gone, 2nd half. UConn by 25. Huskies have won 44 of their last 46 here at the Civic Center. Blocking foul on Crockett, her 3rd. Number 5 on UConn, as we'll step aside. Duke and Boston College, the only 2 visiting teams to beat UConn here in those last 46 games. There's a look at Jen Derevjanik, outstanding player on the George Mason team a year ago. Led the team in scoring with 17 points per game. And she moved on to play for the Connecticut Sun, the WNBA, team that lost in the finals to the Seattle Storm, with former UConn star Sue Bird winning a WNBA ring. And certainly the Patriots miss Derevjanik's contributions this year.
They do. Was she a scorer for them? She really did everything for them offensively last year. In fact, this year Jen Daniels was trying to kind of recreate Jen Dev, as they call her. And then finally, Debbie Tannehill had to sit Daniels down and say, listen, just be yourself, play the game like you can play. And then once Daniels started to settle into her game, the team started to get better and better and better. But it's hard to lose a great player because you think that that's what you need to do. But no, everyone's just got to be themselves.
And away from play, we're going to get a foul called on Strother, I believe. That will be her third, and UConn getting in team foul trouble here in the second half. That's number 6. There's a look at Daniels. Biggest problem for the Patriots, their inability to put the ball in the hole. And Crockett and Strother combined for the turnover. The top 7 George Mason scorers for the season entering tonight's game, all shooting under 38% from the floor. Strother wide open look. Got it.
Yeah, George Mason knows better than to leave Ann Strother that wide open in the corner.
Third 3 of the night for Strother, who had 4 of them last Thursday against Colorado State. Game played in Fort Collins, about 70 miles or so from her Castle Rock, Colorado home. That's the reason the Huskies played that game, a homecoming. They really wanted to play the University of Colorado and play the game in Denver, but they weren't able to work it out scheduling wise. Moore with the miss. Look at Crockett.
But she almost
Keep
tipped
it
that
alive.
first one in.
Good cut by Moore, but her struggles continue. She has really been sort of just out of rhythm offensively tonight.
Although that play was almost perfect in that the pass was a little bit high and she bobbled it, but really good offense, good fire in the way they zipped the ball around.
17th turnover for UConn. Huskies shooting exactly 50% from the floor. Akintunde down low. Out to Hediger. She gives to Wakefield. Shot clock down to 5. Traveling violation. 19th turnover for the Patriots. So Moore will give it to Ashley Valley as we approach the 10-minute mark. Again, UConn, Michigan State here at the Civic Center Wednesday night, 7 o'clock on CPTV. Michigan State ranked 11th in the country. UConn number 8. That's in the ESPN USA Today poll. And now Moore with her 998th career point.
That's good junk stuff. Grabbing the offensive rebound, putting it back in.
Daniels to Hediger for the open 3. Rebound to Flanders, her 6th. Nice touch.
So Flanders is one of those players who hasn't been known for her scoring prowess. There showed some nice touch.
Only averaging 6 per game, played on the Virgin Islands national team in 2002. Ashley Valley. Wolf feeds Crockett inside. She's doubled. Passes out of the double to Strother. Rebound in traffic to Wolf. UConn out rebounding George Mason 36-20. Huskies second in the Big East in rebounding margin.
Huskies doing a good job of attacking the offensive glass against this zone that can't box out.
Ashley Valley for 3.
Nice to see Ashley Valley knock down a 3.
Her first of the year in 4 attempts. Former player of the year in the state of Vermont. Her senior year at Rice Memorial High School in South Burlington. Played on 3 state championship teams there. Akintunde shot nicely contested by Crockett. Got nowhere near the rim.
Crockett has played tremendous defense all evening.
All season, really. Down low, Crockett spins. And on the rebound, lost over the end line by Flanders.
Thank you.
Rashida Sadiq with her first appearance of the night for UConn. Thomas and Soignier also re-entered.
You know, the interior defense against that Arizona State team was what Jessica Moore was quoted as saying embarrassing, because the inside guys got torched. 2 players on Arizona State had 38 points between them. Huskies 34 points actually. So the Huskies came out against Colorado State and are continuing again tonight to really take it personally inside and play good defense.
Wakefield tried to feed inside. Moore got a hand on it. Last touch by Moore with 19 seconds left in the shot clock. UConn down to its last few non-conference games. They'll play Texas, Tennessee at home in January. Hediger with another 3, her 3rd of the night and 17th of the year. 82nd of her career, 9th most in George Mason history. Soignier starts to go, shuffles it inside. Knocked out of bounds by George Mason with 16 left in the shot clock. Melissa Magruder, number 10, is checked in for George Mason for the first time. Junior out of Richmond. Thomas, shot clock down to 11, and it goes off Wolf's hands and out of bounds. UConn has won 112 of its last 119 games, and the Huskies with a 28-point lead. UConn women's basketball team leads by 28. The UConn football team with a 23-point fourth quarter lead over Toledo in the Motor City Bowl tonight at Ford Field in Detroit. First ever bowl appearance for the Huskies, who have made their presence felt in their first season in the Big East Football Conference.
It's unbelievable.
Soignier will give to Moore. Wolf to Soignier. Tell you what, when Jeff Hathaway locked up Coach Randy Edsel to a new long-term contract, that turned out to be a great move, because with all the coaching jobs open, you have to believe that many would have looked Edsel's way. Wolf with the right side three. The Huskies have 8 3-pointers tonight.
It's nice to see Nicole Wolf getting on track offensively.
10 points for Wolf, her second double-figure scoring game of the season. Look at the hustle by Mel Thomas. And then continuing with the hustle, Soignier and Wolf to create the held ball. Possession arrow towards George Mason.
Those are the kind of plays that are contagious, those hustle plays. They're the nice tip, and then Thomas creating that solely by her hustle, diving on the floor. Then Soignier, the same thing, Wolf to follow. Those are the little things that really add up with a ball club.
Debbie Tannehill said of UConn, it's a different kind of athleticism than what we're used to. And that last possession there, pretty good illustration of that.
Absolutely.
Hediger to Wakefield. Hediger deep three from in front of the Patriots bench. Higgy in the right place at the right time, but couldn't hit the putback. Thomas hits Wolf in full stride. Nicole
hey,
Wolf.
we almost just saw a smile on Nicole Wolf.
Here's Soignier with the steal. She'll wait for help. 20th turnover for George Mason. Soignier to Wolf on the right. Wolf with a dozen points tonight, a season high. Sadiq down low on the floor, and she'll draw the foul on Higgy. Second foul on Higgy, and number 6 on the Patriots here in the second half. And at the free throw line will go Rashida Sadiq, who had a chance to go to Arizona State, same state where she played her junior college basketball the last 2 years.
It's nice to go home. I'm sure they enjoyed the weather there a lot more than they do here.
Well, those numbers say it all for Wolf. Second game of the year. She had 11 against North Carolina, and a great ovation from the sellout crowd here at the Civic Center. What Nicole Wolf probably needs more than anything is a big-time dose of confidence. There's the smile.
Hey. And you know, when you say smile, the entire bench was up and clapping and laughing and smiling. We haven't seen that a whole lot this year. I mean, they've been a very stressful bunch. A lot of tension.
Wild shot by Magruder. Rebound. On the floor comes to Soignier. Here's a 5-on-4. Stacey Marin is checked in for UConn. No look feed to Moore. And there it is. Career point number 1,000 for Jessica Moore. And the entire crowd is aware of it. The 24th player in UConn history to score her 1,000th career point. Flanders no good. Rebound comes out to Marin. Jessica Moore, Gino Auriemma's first ever freshman non-medical redshirt. And to go from that point to this one, scoring 1,000 points, well, she admits that she never thought she'd see the day.
Well, when she got here offensively, she just was not a complete player, and it's a credit to the coaching staff, but mostly to the work ethic of this young lady who has worked incredibly hard and diligently over the last 5 years.
Well, UConn would not have won their 3rd straight national championship last year were it not for Moore. Flanders with a turnaround. Moore made the all Final Four team. She was absolutely terrific in the championship game against Tennessee.
The fact that she tore her ACL with 7 minutes to go and then came back in and continued to contribute is astounding.
And on the play where she tore it, she kept the ball alive at a big moment in the game when Tennessee was making a run at the Huskies. Hediger throws it right into Moore's hands. Let's check out Soignier's quickness here. Instead, she does the quick math. She counts 2 on 3. The no look pass to Sadiq, and Sadiq wasn't looking either.
Yeah, when you have a quick passer like that, I mean, Sadiq gets laughing. Sometimes you can fake out your own teammates.
And the crowd responds and gives Moore another ovation. And now her teammates are giving it to her on the bench. 1,000 career points. Daniels with a 3. So we approach the 4-minute mark. 71-40 UConn. We're going to see a lot of those 1,000-point moments this year. Ashley Battle, Turner, Strother should also get there. Houston with the turnaround.
She'll get there before long, I'm sure.
3,837 points in high school, where they play only 32-minute games. Left side jumper no good by Quigley, but she'll draw the foul and get to the line with 3:48 remaining. So first of all, we shall step aside. UConn #1 in the Big East preseason coaches poll with a big 33-point lead. She began the night needing 6 points to reach that 1,000-point club, and she now has all 6.
Yeah, Jessica Moore back to her old ways, knocking down jumpers from the foul line, ripping down offensive rebounds, putting it back. And here was the magic hoop. And the nice feed from the freshman, Keisha Soignier.
She's going to be joined by 3 of her teammates before too long. You remember the basket that put you in the 1,000-point club, Meg?
I don't. I think it was at Syracuse. That's about all I remember. In front of probably 12 people.
Probably 9 of them rooting for the Huskies.
Back then, I don't know.
Of course, you finished with 1,106 points in your outstanding career, which I imagine your best memory of that was the trip to the Final Four in '91.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The first Final Four. I have a lot of good memories. And although most of the great memories have very little to do with the wins and losses.
Thomas with the right side 3. That's the 9th 3 of the night for UConn. Inside the 3.5-minute mark, UConn by 35. Magruder changes hands but couldn't finish.
Tough take for the walk-on Magruder. Too bad couldn't get that one to go down.
Soignier, Thomas, Houston, 3 freshmen on the floor, plus another first-year player in the program. Sadiq, the junior college transfer. And on the cut, Thomas is bumped. And the foul will be called on Flanders.
And Flanders is putting her hands up. Like, what is that call? But she did bump her, but Flanders is just so big and strong inside. I mean, look at her shoulders. She could probably bench Mel.
But not with the mask on, because that mask probably weighs another 10 pounds. 4th on Flanders, 7 on the team, and Thomas will go to the line, missing the front end of the 1-and-1. Had a storied career at Mount Notre Dame High School in Cincinnati. They were the 2nd-ranked high school team in the country a year ago. The USA Today won a state championship, went 28-0. Cross court, Houston got her hand on it. Shot clock down to 10. Daniels deep 3. Oh, that should be a 4.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. They were jacking those shots from long range.
Gino Ariema calls time for the sole purpose of getting a substitute in the game, and Ashley Valley will replace Mel Thomas. Looks like the coach is going to go the full 40 with the coat on tonight.
Well, that looks to be his MO this year, is to.
Well, I have a prediction.
To keep that jacket on.
Michigan State coming to town on Wednesday. There's no way. He goes the full
that
40
sucker's coming right off. Unless, hey, maybe, I don't know if his deodorant isn't working as well as it usually does. I don't know. He's trying to be the calm, cool guy this year.
Soignier with the miss. Rebound comes to Marin. Shot clock didn't recycle after the first miss. And then Houston touches it last with 2:07 remaining. Michigan State, as we mentioned earlier, coached by Joanne McCauley, who brought her main team to Connecticut twice, once to Gamble Pavilion in the NCAA tournament, and once here at the Civic Center with the legendary Cindy Blodgett, one of the most prolific scorers in NCAA history, who truly became a legend up in Orono, Maine.
Yeah, she's like a cult figure up there, more so than Stephen King.
They still sell her jersey in the Black Bear store in Alfond Arena. Of course, McCauley had tremendous success at Maine. They won 4 straight America East championships, and she's done a great job turning around the Michigan State program. Marin for 3. Can't get it to go. Rebound, Houston. And the rebound in traffic to Wakefield a little over a minute to go, and she's bumped in the backcourt by Stacey Marin.
Actually, they just called that UConn ball that Wakefield just kicked it off her foot.
All right. So with 1:17 to go, Ashley Valley will inbound. There's Marin, who got her first career start last Thursday at Colorado State, had a rebound and an assist in 8 minutes. Valley, right side 3, doesn't get to the rim, and last touch by Houston with 1:04 remaining. So this might be, Meg, just what the doctor ordered with a powerful Michigan State team coming to town on Wednesday. An effort like this for UConn.
Yeah, every little bit helps. You know, you just got to continue to take those steps in the right direction. Confidence is such an important element of the game of basketball, and games like this one tonight will go a long way in helping the Huskies. But there's still a lot of things, you know, like a lot of the sloppy fouls that we saw in the first half. They're going to have to continue to sharpen those skills, because you cannot be senselessly fouling teams.
That's what the schedule looks like for UConn. Those first 3 games will be on CPTV. Michigan State Wednesday at 7. Undefeated St. John's, 10-0 for the first time ever on Sunday. The next Tuesday, a winless Providence team comes to Gamble Pavilion. It's been a real struggle for Coach Susan Yao's Lady Friars this year. It's early in the season, but there is certainly a possibility, Meg, that they could run the table without ever getting that first win.
Yeah, you hate to see that with any team.
Fourth quarter, the Motor City Bowl, 8 minutes to go. UConn 33, Toledo 10. So far it's been a great night for the Huskies athletic program. And with the shot clock off, the Huskies will not take another shot, and that'll do it. So Gino Auriemma's club put together back-to-back wins since losing to Arizona State last Tuesday. They knocked down 9 3-pointers, forced 22 turnovers, and they win it by a score of 76-44 over George Mason. Career win number 538 for Gino Auriemma. His career won-loss percentage, .836, the best among active coaches in the country. Final again, 76-44 Huskies.